Welcome to the playoff push for Week 26 with Simon Borg. I'm Jason Seguini. On today's show, Salt Lake make a statement, Philadelphia's defense springs a leak, and one team starts planning an early vacation. But first, let's take a look at the standings as they sit after Wednesday night's action.
Jason, we'll look at the automatic qualifiers in each conference. First, the West, LA Galaxy, 52 points to lead the way, followed by Seattle and FC Dallas. Nothing changes there. In the East, you have Columbus still leading the way with 40 points, followed by Sporting and Houston. The important thing to note here is that Columbus still with a game in hand on the two teams that follow. And in the wild card race, Real Salt Lake with an important move, jumping over the Colorado Rapids thanks to the 3 points against the Philadelphia Union. They're now that much closer to the automatic spots in the West.
That's right, Simon. In Portland, DC United and Chivas USA just outside that playoff mix. Now, let's take a look at some of the movers after this past weekend's action. The first team we're looking at is Real Salt Lake, and Simon, you mentioned earlier they jumped over Colorado.
Yeah, not only did they make their move in the wild card standings, they're that much closer though now to the top 3. Only 4 points away from FC Dallas, who occupy 3rd place in the West. More importantly, they still have 2 games in hand on that top trio in the West.
Speaking of those top 3, Simon, the Seattle Sounders are our next mover. They didn't actually play this past weekend, but they may have gotten closer to a potential supporter shield.
And that's because the team right now at the top of the table, the LA Galaxy, could only draw in Kansas City. And that means Seattle Sounders now just find themselves 4 points away from the top spot overall and a possible supporter shield. And we know what the supporter shield means. It means you face the lowest seed in the wild card, and it's an automatic bid for the Champions League.
All right, well, Seattle, one of the hottest teams throughout the past month, but not everybody can be a mover. Some people miss opportunities. And it's the Philadelphia Union who missed opportunities this week. They had 2 games, only got 1 point out of it. But really, Simon, the defense and goalkeeper situation is trouble.
And after it looked so promising early in the season, it's unraveling for Philadelphia. In Salt Lake, not only do they give up 2 goals to Salt Lake, but they lose their goalkeeper, Farid Mondragon, who's going to be out for a month with a broken finger. And now we saw the problems defensively that they had in Salt Lake continue against the New England Revolution at home in midweek. 4-4 the draw there. They allowed 4 first-half goals.
All right, speaking of their opponents, the New England Revolution, the question is, are they still alive? The New England Revolution gave up a 3-goal lead twice to the Philadelphia Union in the midweek. They're 8 points out of a playoff spot, only 7 games left to play. Simon, the question is, are they still alive in this playoff race?
Mathematically, they are, sure, but for all intents and purposes, I say no. They can only get to 45 points max, and a lot of people are saying that's what's going to take to make the playoffs, and I think they'll have too many teams ahead of them in the wild card race to make it in. And they've just given up too many points along the way. Games that should have been in hand, wins they should have had. They could be in that mix of that wild card race had they not given up those games.
All right, we're going to get to the last topic for today's show, and that is the games to watch this weekend. There are plenty of games this weekend that are going to affect the playoff races. We're going to point to 3 in particular, and we're starting on Saturday afternoon, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. The Seattle Sounders are hosting Real Salt Lake in a Western Conference battle.
And Jason, at stake here is one of the top 3 automatic spots in the West, I believe. If Seattle win this game, I think they've basically assured themselves one of those 3 spots.
All right, moving on, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, Portland Timbers facing the Philadelphia Union. This is a Philadelphia Union team that we've mentioned has dropped some points lately. Can they get the full 3 points against Portland?
Yeah, the Timbers can actually catch the Philadelphia Union in the standings with a win. But I think more importantly for Portland, they need to make sure Philadelphia doesn't escape and get away from them, so they need to at least get a draw.
Well, hoping that they can keep Philadelphia from gaining too many points will be the other 2 teams that we're pointing to here, and that's DC United taking on Chivas in LA. Both these teams on the outside looking in, trying to chase the New Yorks and Philadelphias.
But DC with 3 games in hand on Chivas, this game a lot more important to the home team, to Chivas USA. They've kind of fallen off in recent weeks. They need a win to get back on track here.
All right, that's all we have for the playoff push for Week 26. I hope you enjoy the weekend of MLS action. We'll be back with more next week.